This committee has already acted on that bill, I thought unanimously. I may be mistaken, but be happy to work with you, and I think that's an important thing that we should work on. I do ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record an article published this morning by Reuters entitled "Trump Allies Laying the Groundwork to Contest Potential Election Loss," which reports that Trump and his allies are planting seeds of doubt about the election, including the introduction of this bill. And I will ask for unanimous consent to include that in the record. I said in my opening statement, and I'll make clear again, everyone watching should be clear, this hearing is not a serious effort to stop non-citizens from voting, which does not happen and is already illegal, as I think everyone has testified. And we know it again because of what the Speaker said. He admitted they have no evidence. So even what's being talked about here, he didn't suggest that as evidence during his press conference. He said we actually intuitively know it. I think others would agree, there's an effort to help the former president capture the presidency, and we should be clear about what a Trump presidency would bring to this country. To do so, we need to look no further than Project 2025, which is an extremist 920-page manifesto embraced by the Trump campaign to reshape the federal government into an arch-conservative Christian nationalist autocracy. Project 2025, organized by the Heritage Foundation, calls on a second Trump administration to massively expand the power of the presidency and the power of the government over Americans' daily lives. And it outlines how a future Trump Department of Justice will prevent women nationwide from accessing health care, including access to abortion. In fact, Donald Ayer, a Republican, a Deputy Attorney General of the United States under George H.W. Bush, said that Project 2025 is full of, quote, ideas that are designed to let Donald Trump function as a dictator. He really wants to destroy any notion of a rule of law in this country and is now preparing to do a bunch of things totally contrary to the basic values we have always lived by. If Trump were to be elected and implement some of the ideas he is apparently considering, no one in this country would be safe. That's a Republican, former Deputy Attorney General of the United States. So how does this all tie in today's hearing? Well, the majority has called one of the leading architects of Project 2025 to testify on behalf of their bill. So I really have to give you credit for saying the quiet part out loud. My majority colleagues aren't even trying to hide what they intend to do. They invited the architects of the day one dictator plan to this hearing. And I think it shows how extreme and undemocratic the entire exercise is. And the American public deserve a full transparency about what the Trump campaign is planning, what the majority witness in his organization is planning. And I would like to, with unanimous consent, introduce for the record, Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise Project 2025 into the record.
Without objection.
Mr. Waldman, let me ask you, are you familiar with Project 2025?
I am.
If this hearing is meant to help Donald Trump contest the outcome of the 2024 election, and it most certainly is, then plans like this Project 2025 and conservative activists like those called by the majority are preparing to assist Donald Trump's administration implement catastrophic policies that Americans fundamentally oppose. By your estimation, how would Project 2025 damage American democracy and the rule of law?
Well, Project 2025 lays out in audacious detail a blueprint for an expansion of presidential power unlike any we've seen in our history. It's not just a policy agenda for conservative policies on taxes or the environment. It would fundamentally reshape checks and balances in the constitutional system. It would give a blueprint for the president taking control of the Justice Department and the FBI, for the president taking control of independent agencies. It would, in couple with other agendas, such as Schedule F, which would involve the purging of the federal workforce of many civil servants to be replaced by political loyalists, or the use of the Insurrection Act as a basis either for crackdown on opposition or as a basis for very aggressive seizing of non-citizens, as articulated by former President Trump. A whole host of things, all taken together, would change the nature of American government to something very different from what the founders intended or what any of us would be comfortable with.
You know, the unsubstantiated fear-mongering about insecure elections, voter fraud that we heard in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the January 6th deadly attacks on the Capitol. You know, we've heard this before, and I wonder, again, Mr. Waldman, if you want to comment, do you see any parallels between this effort now to suggest that there's rampant fraud in federal elections as a pretext for 2024?
It is not a mistake that it's happening now. It is, as I said, the big lie is being pre-deployed. And in 2020, the election deniers were improvisational and somewhat slapdash. Now it is very well organized, and it is very well funded, and it is thought out well in advance to try to set the stage for challenging the legitimacy of elections. As we know, Donald Trump in 2016 said that he had really won the popular vote. If you could deduct the millions of non-citizens who voted, he said, these were evidently invisible people because nobody ever saw them and there was never any proof. And that was an election he won. He did the same thing with other charges in 2020. And it's important to note, too, that this myth of widespread tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of non-citizen voters was deployed in 2020 as well. Rudy Giuliani lost his law license in part because of his lies about non-citizen voting in Arizona. Lies, I should note, that were repeated by President Trump on the ellipse as he sent the crowd up to the Capitol. So this was not the central argument then, but it is now.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the extra time, Mr. Chair. I yield back.
Gentlemen,